We live in a society that is obsessed with words. The weak offendables, they don't care about your actions, they only care about your words. Drew Brees, for example. Drew Brees is one of the most charitable players in sports, not just with his money. Any millionaire can give money to charity. Drew Brees is generous with his time. He and his wife, Brittany, they have done more for the city of New Orleans than every politician in New Orleans combined. What did Ray Nagin do for the city besides accept kickbacks and become a bitch in prison? What is LaToya Cantrell, the current mayor for New Orleans? What has she done for the city? Like Joe Biden, I can list a shitload of things that she's done to screw things up. COVID lockdowns, unnecessary restrictions. In a city built off of tourism revenue, LaToya Cantrell has done everything that she can to convince people not to come to New Orleans. Drew Brees, though, he's one of the primary reasons that the city was able to be revived after Hurricane Katrina. But in May of 2020, when he had the audacity to say that he would never kneel for the national anthem, all his good deeds forgotten. The woke shitfucks, they crucified him. There is a small segment of the population who happens to be the loudest segment, the reason being, you have time to be loud when you don't bathe on a regular basis and you contribute nothing to society. I like to call them the unemployables because no one in their right mind would ever hire a filthy social justice warrior. Earlier this week, we talked about Josh Donaldson and Tim Anderson, that whole situation from last weekend. Now, just in case you didn't know, Josh Donaldson, he called Tim Anderson Jackie, which immediately sent the biggest pussy in Major League Baseball into triggered fake outrage. Now, as expected, the mainstream media, they are portraying Tim Anderson as the ultimate victim. This poor black man, the only black man in an evil all-white sport. He should not have to deal with this blatant racism. One of my regular viewers happens to live in Chicago, and all week, he has been keeping me apprised as to how the mainstream media in Chicago is covering this story. Rick Morrissey, he's a graduate of Woke U and a so-called journalist at the Chicago Sun-Times. Rick Morrissey is what I like to call an OWP, not to be confused with OPP. As much as he pretends to be a fighter against mythical racism, I highly doubt Rick Morrissey has ever heard of Naughty by Nature, and I am damn sure he's never been down with other people's pussy. This man hasn't seen the inside of a vagina since his last appointment with his OBGYN. But anyway, Rick Morrissey is what I like to call OWP, old, white, and privileged. I'm not talking about white privilege. I'm talking about the privilege that you have as a member of the mainstream media, where you can spout whatever lies and propaganda that you want. You can invent whatever bullshit enters your woke mind, and no one ever calls you out for it. It was announced earlier this week that Rob Manfred, commissioner in Major League Baseball, he was suspending Josh Donaldson for one game. You know, Rob Manfred, he passed up a golden opportunity to not only do the right thing, but at the same time appeal to his core audience. Major League Baseball is the worst promoted sport in America. This league is a constant offender of shitting on its own fan base. Major League Baseball has the oldest audience across all sports. Now, what do older people have trouble with? Technology. Rob Manfred thought it would be a brilliant idea to make regular season games exclusive to Apple TV. Now, it's hard enough to find a fucking baseball game on regular cable. Now you are asking your old audience to pay for an extra subscription and also search the platform to find a regular season baseball game that means absolutely nothing. Then to add insult to injury, you put Katie fucking Nolan in the broadcast booth. The woman who only has two discernible skills, both of which are useless when it comes to broadcasting. Katie Nolan has the ability to look pretty, which is a moot point since her face is rarely seen calling baseball games. She also has the unique ability to keep potted plants alive with her high-value carbon dioxide. If you ever find yourself struggling in your yard, your grass, or your plants keep dying, give a call to Katie Nolan. She'll have you a prosperous jungle in no time. Anyway, Instead of Rob Manfred appealing to his core audience by not suspending Josh Donaldson, he hands him a 1-game suspension. Now, of course, this punishment, that wasn't enough for the celibate Rick Morrissey of the Chicago Sun-Times. If you read the punishment code of the first woke commandment, thou shalt not commit racism, you will see the punishment for first-time violators is career death by cancellation. Beta male Rick Morrissey, he was triggered by the 1-game suspension. He didn't feel the punishment came close to fitting the crime. It didn't meet the woke standards. Ricky Lake, he submitted his proposal to the administration at Woke U. Now, what was included in this proposal? Perhaps it was spanking Josh Donaldson with the woke paddle. Ricky actually did make that suggestion, but administrators at Woke U, they didn't think it was appropriate to allow him to live out his sick fantasies. Instead, Rick Morrissey came up with suggestion number 2. Josh Donaldson should be given a 4.2-game suspension. A 4.2-game suspension. So he would be suspended 4 games in 2 innings? Is that how that would work? I'm not wearing my woke hat at the moment, so I'm struggling to understand the logic of this stupid fuck. But have no fear. Ricky Lake explains his position. A 4.2-game suspension would be appropriate because Jackie Robinson wore number 42. I thought Tim Anderson was the victim here. Wouldn't it make more sense to give Josh Donaldson a 7-game suspension since Tim Anderson wears number 7? But whatever the fuck, I mean, who cares? Why am I wasting my time speaking logic to a dumbass social justice warrior? Rick Morrissey, he then tries to explain why the word Jackie, spoken by a white man to a black man, is so racist. He claims that words matter greatly. You'd have to be a special kind of idiot to not understand calling a black man Jackie is racist. Teasing a person of color by calling him the name of a black hero is insensitive. Oh, there's that word again, sensitive. You know what that means? Sensitivity training. We're going to have to enroll Josh Donaldson in sensitivity training with Bomani Jones. Bobo can teach him the appropriate way to address a black man. Don't call him by his first name. Don't call him Jackie. Don't call him Obama. Don't call him sir. How about we just make it simple and just not call him at all? Well, KC, then you're excluding him. We must practice the ecstasy of inclusion. Rick Morrissey compares calling Tim Anderson Jackie to calling someone Hitler. So let me get this straight. You're trying to draw the parallel between calling someone Jackie, a man who changed the game of baseball, who changed the country, who built a legacy that stood the test of time. You're trying to compare that to Hitler, who killed millions of Jews and caused a world war. I'm not seeing the comparison. Let me address the words matter part of what Rick Morrissey said, because he claims Josh Donaldson's intent behind calling Tim Anderson Jackie. He claims the intent behind it is irrelevant, which is 100% bullshit. Intent absolutely matters. Context matters. This was a running joke between Josh Donaldson and Tim Anderson that had been going on for 3 years. If Tim Anderson didn't want to be compared to Jackie Robinson, he shouldn't have compared himself to Jackie Robinson. And you know what? Josh Donaldson's not doing himself any favors either. He's making it extremely hard to defend him. What is the number 1 rule when you offend a social justice warrior? You never apologize. You don't apologize to these useless fucks. These people view apologies as a sign of weakness. You are submitting yourself into their compliance. Josh Donaldson, he's not only apologized once, not twice, but 3 times. How many times can you say you're sorry for not doing anything wrong? He's apologized twice to Tim Anderson. I'm sorry you had the feelings of a 12-year-old girl. I'm sorry you're such a pussy. Now Josh Donaldson is apologizing to the family of Jackie Robinson. Check this shit out. Let me ask you something. What does Tim Anderson bring to the game of baseball? I'm being serious. I'm being dead serious. I had never heard of this fucking guy until he was called Jackie. What does he bring to Major League Baseball? What value does he bring? Josh Donaldson, he says it himself. In the past, this has never been an issue. We had a mutual understanding. If that's the case, then why the fuck are you apologizing? I have distressed the Robinson family. How? How is calling Tim Anderson Jackie when he calls himself Jackie? How is that distressing to the Jackie Robinson family? If anything is distressing to the legacy of Jackie Robinson, it's some woke shitfuck comparing himself to him. That is distressing. The other day in a pregame press conference, Steve Kerr said he was sick and tired. You know what? I am too. I'm sick and tired of these overly sensitive men being triggered by words. We used to teach kids that words can never hurt you. Now we're teaching kids words are more painful than actions. Did you see what's going on in San Francisco? It seems like every day, San Francisco's making news for being the most triggered city in America. In San Francisco, you are no longer allowed to use the word chief when describing someone's job title. You know, like chief executive, chief accountant. I guess the rapper Chief Keef will no longer be able to perform in San Francisco. You see, chief is offensive to Native Americans. If chief is offensive to anyone, it should be the French people, since the word chief is derived from the word chef in French. But facts and logic, they don't apply to woke dumbasses. Also in San Francisco, an elementary school principal is likely to get fired because she repeated the N-word when describing to fifth grade students why a fight had broke out. Apparently, one student called another student the N-word, a fight broke out, and the principal was just explaining to the class why it was wrong and why the fight happened. How dare you? You are not allowed to explain to children why usage of the N-word is wrong. Oh, I get it now. I'm starting to understand. You're not allowed to do that. But if you want to explain to kids in school how to fuck the garden hose, that's okay. If you want to teach children how to select one of the 53 genders, that's okay. The use of those words is acceptable. Come on over here, Jenny. Let me teach you how to make sweet woke love to this pretty pink crayon. But calling a black man Jackie? Unacceptable. Using the N-word to teach children why it's wrong? Unacceptable. But sharing words like non-binary, gender void, woke love, transgender, cisgender, I don't have a gender, sharing those words with kids, acceptable. Are you guys understanding the logic? Yeah, me either. Let me know what you think. Josh Donaldson continuing to apologize for doing nothing wrong. What do you think of the one-game suspension? I think Josh Donaldson should be given the MVP award for triggering a pussy social justice warrior, but that's just me. Let me know what you think. Sound off in the comments below. Make sure to like and subscribe. Click the notification bell to receive all notifications from the channel. Best way to contact me is by email at btlkc84@gmail.com, KC_BTL84 on Twitter. I'll see you guys tomorrow.